Hello and welcome to Mastering in the Box. In this week's video we are going to take another look at Studio 1.5 and the Fat Channel XT plugin and see how we can use this in a mastering setting. Hello and welcome back to Mastering in the Box. I am your host Smudge, and in this week's video we are going to continue our mini-series Mastering in Studio 1.5 by taking a look at the Fat Channel XT plugin, and we're going to look at how we can introduce this into our mastering workflow. Before we get into the video, if you want to know more about digital mastering, then don't forget to click the subscribe button below and also click the bell and select all so you're notified of all of our future releases moving forward. And if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Fat Channel XT plugin, and it is a channel strip style plugin, and we have at the top of the chain we have a high pass filter and a gate, and then we have a compressor, an equalizer and a limiter. Now with most of PreSonus style plugins, they are very flexible, and in this particular instance we can move the compression and the EQ to suit your taste. So in this particular example we have the compressor before the equalizer, but just with one click of a button we can then move the equalizer before the compressor, which is fantastic depending on how you want your signal chain to be set up. Now this plugin is available in the Studio One Prime and the Studio One Professional, and this really is a great stock plugin to really get you started with mastering. Now before we get into the rest of the video, just one thing to add is if you're a PreSonus Sphere member, then you can get all the additional extensions for the Fat Channel XT. There are some great EQ and compression options that are available extras. If you're not a PreSonus Sphere member, then these are available to purchase separately, but these are great and really check them out. I'm not going to feature these additional extensions in this week's video, but next week's video we will take a look at how we can use some of these in our mastering chain. So the song we're featuring this week is once again the song Deeper Love by the artist Popos. And before we get to the Fat Channel XT plugin, all I've done is I've applied some limiting just to boost the signal, just to get the volume up a little bit more, so we're more in the realms of the streaming platform distribution levels. So let's just take a little listen to the track and just get ourselves re-familiarised with the song.
The world gonna set me free, break the chain from the pain, hope they let us be, 'cause we're the ones that are falling in love. Memories from the deep, baby, come on please, pack your bags, let the spirit come and set us free, run away, hit the train, jump and play with me.
So as you can see, the limiter is just applying some gain to the overall track, around 6 dBs, and the overall reduction is literally 0.18 dB, so we're not doing much compression at all with the limiter, it's just boosting the input level. So why would we use the Fat Channel XT plugin for mastering? Well, this is a great option if you are new to mastering or you're inexperienced when it comes to mastering. Sometimes there can be a tendency to apply too much processing to the overall track, and you can really ruin a master by trying to do too much. The beauty of using something like the Fat Channel XT is there are fewer options available to you, and it's just about tweaking the overall track, not making too many critical adjustments. It's just enhancing your mix and really forcing you to apply critical listening, just to apply some subtle tweaks just to enhance the song further. Right, so let's get started with this track, and in this particular instance I want to get the compressor first in the chain, so let's bypass the EQ and limiter and let's move the compressor first in the chain. We're not going to use the high pass filter, we're not going to use the gate. The gate is fantastic if you are using it for tracking vocals, or if you're using it to mix drums and you want to cut out some of that bleed, but we're not going to use the gate for the mastering in this instance. With the compressor, low ratio 1.5 to 1. We've got a relatively fast attack at 5.58 milliseconds, medium release of 282 milliseconds, and then we've reduced the threshold to minus 23.52 dB. And as per normal, we're not looking for heavy compression, we're just looking for maybe 1-2 dBs of compression just to give the track some overall glue. So let's bypass the compressor, let's play the track, and then let's put the compressor into action.
On the run, gonna set me free, break the chain from the pain, hope they let us be, 'cause we're the ones that are falling in love. Memories from the deep, baby, come on please, pack your bags, let the spirit come and set us free, run away, hit the train, jump and play with me, just you and me, and we're falling in love. Here
Okay, so the compressor's just giving the track some more body. It's boosting the low end a little bit. It's just making everything more round. In this particular instance, I've just applied just a touch of gain. It's literally half a dB, because where the gain reduction is being applied from the compressor, just a little bit of makeup gain just to boost the level a bit further. So I say it's a great handy little compressor just to really tame everything in, just give everything a bit more consistency, and it's a great way to use it, having it first in your signal chain for mastering in this particular instance. So next we have the equalizer. So let's just kick the equalizer in for a second. So in this particular scenario, there's a few things that I just wanted to quickly go through. So like before, it's one of the things I was really looking to do is just to boost the low end of the track. So in this particular instance, just applying a low shelf. The low shelf is at 48k, and it's just literally a 1.67 dB gain. So it's a very minimal gain, but it's just going to round off that low end, give the kick a bit more definition, and just to round off the bass as well. Bass, once again, is we're also looking at very literally a small 1.72 dB gain boost at 133 Hz, and it's once again just going to give that body to that bass. One of the things we looked at when we used the tri-comp was just to give the bass a little bit more rounded and a bit more body, and just to really just make it pop a little bit more in the overall track. And we're going to try and do that with this EQ move in this particular instance. Then it comes to, we're going to take a small little dip out. There's a lot of nasal area. This track was sung by me, and as you can hear, I am very nasally. So one of the things I try and do is just to reduce some of the nasal frequencies around that 600k mark. So we've got a frequency reduction of 1.48 dB at 632 Hz, and so it's a relatively gentle Q of 1.6 there, and it's just going to take a little dip out. And then last but not least, just to give some air to the overall track, we've got a slight gain increase of 2.65 dB at 10k. And this is actually just a high shelf if we boost it in there. So what I want to do is just bypass the EQ, let's play the track, put the EQ on, and let's see what difference it's making.
Memories from the deep, baby, come on, please. Pack your bags, let the spirit come and set us free. Run away at the train, come and play with me. Just you and me, and we're falling in love. Here I am. Take my hand.
It's really subtle, but say just with that high shelf, it's just adding that little bit of extra air, just giving the vocals a bit more top end, just making the vocal breathe a bit more. With the low mid frequency of around 130 Hz there, it's just giving that bass a bit more body, and with that low shelf, it's just giving the kick some more weight. And I say I just wanted to touch out a little bit of the 600 Hz there, just to take out some of that nasalness from the track. And so it's really subtle, but it just gives the track some more life. Let's just try and listen to that again. So the last thing to cover is just the limiter, and all we're using the limiter for in this instance is just to tame the peaks. So the limiter in this particular plugin is not applying overall gain to the track, it is literally just applying limiting compression just to tame the peaks. In this particular instance, I've used a threshold of minus 11.34 dB, and if I play the track, it is literally just taming the peaks. It is not doing much compression at all. It's just a minuscule amount, so it's just taming those peaks, just to make everything more consistent in terms of volume before we hit the final limiter, which is going to raise the overall sound. Once again, with this plugin, it's just allowing you to make subtle changes just to enhance a track rather than really affect the track. We're not getting super critical, we're just looking at areas that are just going to embellish the track a little bit further to give us a better overall sound. So there we have it. We've just used a few subtle EQ moves, some gentle compression, and a very gentle bit of limiting to this track just to give it that boost further. So let's play the track through once more. We're going to bypass the entire plugin, we'll put it back in, and just to see what the overall difference is.
On the run, gonna set me free. Break the chain from the pain, hope they let us be. 'Cause we're the ones that are falling in love. Memories from the deep, baby, come on, please. Pack your bags, let the spirit come and set us free.
Not only is this plugin subtle, it is very transparent using these stock items here. One of the great thing about this particular plugin for mastering is if you're not looking to apply too much colour and you don't want to use, say, an analog emulation, then definitely give this plugin a try, because it is super transparent. It's not going to colour your sound too much, so I'd recommend it if you want to get a nice transparent sound. So that is a simple overview of the Fat Channel XT plugin using the stock parameters. It's a great versatile unit. If you want the EQ first, great. If you want the compressor first, great, you can do that. If you want to swap out some of the modules for, say, some analog flavours, you can get the additional bundles and add those in as well. They are great, and we'll take a look at those next week. But it's amazing what you can do with this plugin, just making a few minor changes just to embellish the song further and get your track sounding great before getting the level up with the final limiter. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to be notified of all of our future videos moving forward, then also click the bell and select all so you receive notifications when we release our new videos in due course. I'd also be really keen to understand from you guys if there's anything particular you'd like me to feature in one of my videos to help you master inside Studio One or master in the digital domain. There's a lot of techniques that we can use, there's a lot we can learn from each other, there's a lot that I'd like to share with you guys, and a lot that I'd like to learn from you too. So if there's anything in particular you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments down below, or if there's a particular technique or a particular way that you use a plugin inside Studio One, let me know in the comments down below, because it'd be great to use this as a resource where we can share lots of tips, techniques to improve us all moving forward. So all that's left for me to say is I hope you all keep safe and well. I look forward to seeing you in the next video coming soon.